Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have the Washington Governor Jay Inslee versus President Trump in a 2020 potential scenario. I may or may not turn this into an election night depending on how my schedule plays out. I had a huge essay due tonight actually, so I finished that. So which is why this video is getting out around 11 o'clock. So I'm just going to be going through the map. He's from the state of Washington, so a lot of the western states will most likely go for him. Um, I definitely see him doing better in states on the West Coast, like states like Nevada. I think he could better appeal to states over here. But keep in mind that there's only one swing state over here, which is Nevada and sometimes Arizona. But Nevada is really the closest to the West Coast that's considered a swing state. So I don't think his appeal will be nationwide. So we're just going to go through all the safe states for him and all the safe states for President Trump. Obviously, Utah. Yeah, we're going to keep going through this. Also, tonight, the Alabama runoff. I was not surprised Roy Moore won. I actually predicted that in my past video about the Alabama Senate election. But the margins that it's showing shows that the Trump base is not as solid as you might think, especially in conservative states. In the Republican primary, that's something that's going to need to worry Donald Trump just a little bit. I mean, it's still solid red, but in some other states that aren't necessarily solid red, states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, you could definitely see a lot more support for Democrats. And the fact that Trump endorsing candidates isn't necessarily helping him. Even though he won Alabama by double digits, that doesn't necessarily mean the Trump wave will continue on to midterms, nor does it mean his endorsement means anything in some states. So that's something he's going to need to work out with. But safe states for Jay Inslee. Let's just keep going through this video. New Mexico is safe for Democrats, unless it's a bad Democrat. Not necessarily bad Democrat, just someone who's unexperienced, who really can't drive out Latino voters. And then Maine, all of Maine except for one electoral vote that will go to Trump. New Hampshire, I think that one could be safe. Again, I think that drug-infested den comment still affects him there. I think that'll affect him all the way up till 2020. Then Minnesota, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not going to touch it just yet. But Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona, and Ohio, and Iowa, those are states I don't really think could flip, especially with Jay Inslee on the Democratic ticket. But we're going to keep going through this. Nevada, I think, could go to Jay Inslee just because of the fact the Western Coast appeal, and I think that he could bring out more voters, especially with Trump's approval rating dropping in key states. It's actually higher in New Hampshire. Well, it was higher in New Hampshire until after those recent comments, then in the Rust Belt. So that's something that should be surprising to him. Virginia, that one's trending more Democratic. I'll give that one to Inslee. Along with Minnesota. Minnesota's trending more Republican, but I think that Inslee will carry the voters there. I mean, he'll win the voters there. Colorado, I think Jay Inslee could win the state of Colorado. And look, oh, this is the exact electoral map between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, minus some of the states that I haven't called yet. But that's pretty cool. But Colorado, I think, could go to Jay Inslee with a progressive vote there. Jay Inslee being from Washington, I think he could bring over some more of the Bernie side of the Democratic Party. The state of Florida, I think that one could go to President Trump. The reasoning behind it is I think that Trump will be able to hold on to his voters against Jay Inslee. I don't think he'll have enough of an appeal to really drive out Latino voters. It all depends on his VP, but this is just a one-on-one situation. I'm not going to touch Wisconsin just yet, but Michigan I could definitely see flipping. 35% approval rating for President Trump. He cannot win based off that. I am also basing this off the fact that Michigan will probably vote for a Democrat after the current issues with the Flint water crisis and things like that. 2018 midterms probably will have a Democratic governor. I think Democrats could continue the anti-Trump wave all the way up to the 2020 election. Another state, Wisconsin, I think that one could flip as well. The reasoning behind it is I think that Inslee will make inroads with some of the Bernie base because he is from Washington and he can appeal to part of the base and bring them back from Jill Stein. I think with a unified Democratic Party, Democrats could win elections and outperform Hillary Clinton than she did in 2016. Along with that, Pennsylvania, I think, could go to Inslee. So this is the map. If the three Rust Belt states flip back for Hillary Clinton, she would have won the election 278 to 260. I do think that Pennsylvania will also flip back. I just think that The consistent low approval ratings in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are all under 40%. Right now, it's not looking so good for him. And if you're denying that, then you're either if you either have a lot of confidence in the president or you're just ignoring the polls. The polls aren't always going to be wrong. Because they were wrong one election doesn't mean they'll be wrong forever. You need to realize that. You need to realize that polls are right most of the time. They may be off one election. That doesn't mean they'll be off for the rest of the election, and it doesn't mean you discredit them. Polls showed Roy Moore winning in Alabama. You denied them. Why? Because Trump said he wanted Luther Strange to win, and you saw the reaction. Roy Moore won by around 13% based off with 79% of precincts reporting. Haven't checked it now, but Roy Moore won against the incumbent senator in Alabama who was endorsed by the President of the United States, and polls indicated that. They ignored that. They thought it was closer than it was. It wasn't. So overall, this is my final electoral map, 278 for Jay Inslee to 260 for President Trump. Give or take a few states, I think that there is a possibility for Trump winning this election. But as of right now, with the current approval ratings, with the current way that Jay Inslee is viewed amongst the United States, and his Bernie appeal to the Democratic base, I think this would be the final election results. So again, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.